Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived two neighbors who were complete opposites. Mr. Jones was an elderly man who loved spending his days gardening and reading books, while Mr. Smith was a young man who enjoyed playing video games and listening to loud music. They had never spoken to each other before and barely acknowledged each other's presence. But one day, Mr. Jones's cat went missing, and he was heartbroken. He searched for it everywhere but couldn't find it. As fate would have it, Mr. Smith had seen the cat wandering around his yard. He realized that it belonged to Mr. Jones and decided to return it. Mr. Jones was overjoyed and grateful to Mr. Smith. This small act of kindness sparked a conversation between the two neighbors, and they started talking regularly. They discovered that they had more in common than they thought. Mr. Smith was an avid reader and loved gardening, and Mr. Jones was surprisingly knowledgeable about technology and video games. They started sharing their interests and hobbies with each other, and their unlikely friendship grew stronger. They would spend afternoons sitting in Mr. Jones's garden, chatting about everything and nothing. People in the town were surprised to see the two neighbors getting along so well, and some even made fun of their friendship. But Mr. Jones and Mr. Smith didn't care. They had found a true friend in each other, and that was all that mattered. As time passed, Mr. Jones's health started deteriorating, and he was unable to take care of his garden. Mr. Smith offered to help him, and together, they transformed the garden into a beautiful oasis. Mr. Jones was overwhelmed with gratitude, and their bond grew even stronger. Sadly, Mr. Jones passed away a few years later, leaving behind a void in Mr. Smith's life. But he knew that Mr. Jones would have wanted him to continue their friendship and carry on with their shared interests. From that day on, Mr. Smith took care of the garden, read books, and played video games, in honor of his dear friend. He knew that their unlikely friendship was a blessing and something that he would cherish for the rest of his life.